Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for viewing another episode of the Civic build. Today we're going to be working all around this car. We got some goodies and I haven't started putting them on the car yet, but today we're going to actually mount the motor back up. As you can see, the motor is kind of down in the valley, and I know some people might be like, well, why is that? Well, I had to take this motor out to get it degreed, and I kind of just sat it right here. It's kind of sitting in place. I'm gonna move it out of the way, get it up in the air. We're gonna mount it back up. I'm gonna put the clutch and flywheel on this thing today, and probably mount the transmission as well. Once we do that, we'll have it in the bay, and a lot of this other stuff, like this component, can come out because we got some goodies for it. So I have a lot of parts from Tri-State Motorsports and Speed Factory that have been just kind of sitting here for the last couple weeks, and I'm ready to put them on the car today. So please stay tuned. Grab your popcorn, grab your soda. Let's get to work, y'all. Slide out some. There we go. See what she does. Difficult to get this to come up in the air. Okay, so we can get this motor mount mounted right here. I need to mount the bracket for the motor mount. I believe it's right here. I'll mount that. I need to slide this back some. There we go. Now that we have it back, I'm gonna go ahead and mount the mount for the motor mount. So this piece right here. Go ahead and put that in there. Then we're gonna turn the motor, put the solid pieces that need to go in there, and then we're gonna mount this bad boy again, and then hopefully this is the last time I have to take it out. I was having issues getting this to mount with it being on the motor. So what I did is I'm gonna leave this a little loose and then get the motor in place, tighten this bolt, and then put these bolts and nuts right back on it because it's a little bit easier for me to do by myself. I'm trying to guide the motor, make sure it mounts here, and mess with the lift all at the same time. So it's a little bit more difficult, but I'm just gonna do a little cheat real quick, leave it loose like that. I'll probably thread it in a couple more threads, but that way I can get it to mount here like this, just by putting it into place. I got the engine back into the motor mount spot. There's a bolt that goes here, and then there's two nuts to go here. I'll probably put the bolt first and then slowly come down just to have it so it doesn't move. And then when I see these are in a better position, I'll go ahead and put the nut on them and then be done with that. I'll just go ahead and tighten this bolt too. And like that, the motor's back in. It definitely does not look level. It looks like it's a little high right now, but we're out of the way of everything. And so we have a twin disc Competiton clutch. What I'm gonna do is take the pressure plate off to get to the flywheel. And then once we have that done, I'll go ahead and clean the flywheel off with some brake clean, get it mounted right here. Go ahead and get this opened. Just trying to open this so I can get to every single pressure plate bolt without having issues. So now that we're here, what I'm gonna do is clean this off, the mating surface on both sides, with some brake clean. Gonna get your flywheel bolts, put some red Loctite on them, start the bolts, just get it mounted, and then I'll start to worry about get to that. So I took everything how it was set up in there, and then just laid it like this so as not to confuse myself. And I'll use a clutch alignment tool to get the clutch actually bolted on. Once that's on, we're only a couple more stages from getting that transmission bolted in there. Okay, like I said, we're gonna need some red Loctite for these flywheel bolts. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that set up. And get one of these bolts ready to go and kind of hold it into place. I went ahead and got the bolts started here. And now I'm just gonna take a socket and just every other one, just tighten it down. I'll torque it in a minute, but I'm just trying to make sure it's going on evenly right now. So that's why I'm going every other, all right? Down here to this bottom one. To find a way to stop the flywheel from spinning when I go to torque the bolts. So that's the big thing now. Just find a way to stop it from spinning. So this is what I rigged up. Put one bolt from the pressure plate, one transmission bolt, set like that. Okay, so we have 76 foot-pounds of torque on all bolts. So I just need to take this out and this out to relieve the pressure. So since I went ahead and got everything torqued in here, I'm gonna go ahead and clean it with brake cleaner again. You can see a couple fingerprints on there. Just to make sure that surface is really clean before mounting the clutch plates. I'll get those the clutch plates mounted. And like I said, I am doing this by myself today, so it's gonna be a little bit difficult to film it. This is brake clean. I gotta clean this disc on both sides with brake clean, just so you can see this will look like this. But essentially what it'll do is that clutch alignment tool will allow me to stack these discs on it, and then put everything to make sure everything is where it should be before I start tightening down on those pressure plate bolts. So I went ahead and cleaned all the disc off, and now what I'm doing is just trying to get a couple flywheel bolts in and just kind of hold it on. I still have this here to make sure everything's lined up, but what I'm going to do is just put these bolts in, just hand tighten them a little bit, just so I know that they won't, you know, this won't come crashing down. It's a very expensive clutch, and I really don't feel like messing it up right now. So I'm gonna do this, make sure, like you say, we can slide that in and out with no problems after we get done. But right now, we're gonna keep that in just to make sure everything's aligned as I go around and start putting bolts in. So now that I did it by hand, the instructions say to do the same thing I just did to 13 foot-pounds of torque. So I'll just do that, and then it says once I'm finished with that, go back around and do 26 foot-pounds of torque. So same thing I just did, just with a torque wrench, super easy. Let's get that done and move on.